All right. We're here. We're here just for 75901. Sorry, dude. Glad you choked down your lunch. Wow, that looks really, really blown out. But hopefully it looks good.
TJ, you're so hot.
I'm looking very white, like a undercooked turkey today. So here we are. Welcome back to another episode of Blockchain Basement. My name's TJ, where I'm hanging out here with all my favorite friends. We're going to be talking about crypto today. Joined by the one and only Hit Network Gaming. You guys know him, Joel Cox. Everybody's favorite neighbor, Drew. We've got Hannah joining. First time? Is this first time joining us today, Hannah. So thank you for that. And golly, I'm all messed up with my points. This is Drew. This is Brian. And hey, we got a present over there, so that's awesome. And I noticed the real Crypto Stevo, first time in the basement. Doesn't smell as bad as and of course, BJ. You can look right up his nose. Adam XBT, thanks for the 1-tier sub. That's really, I am looking pale. It's like I said, it's white out there these days, guys. So, you know, it is what it is. I'll get a tan next year, I guess. But so real Crypto Stevo, thanks for joining us today. One of our mods from the YouTube chat.
Where am I?
Sorry, you couldn't fit across the middle. Yeah, you were a late addition. So we're going to be talking about a lot of different stuff. I teased a little bit yesterday, NFT Gods thread that we're going to dig into a little bit and talk about kind of the future of Twitter, Twitter 2, Elon Musk, Bitcoin. Will it all relate? Is it going to be a metaverse? You know, what is it? Is it going to... We wrapped up yesterday talking about, the future, kind of what could kickstart the next bull run. Talked about gaming. I was saying I think the creator economy could really flourish really well. TJ's such a tease. Sorry, Razmataz. I don't know what you're referring to, but could be true. Anyway, so yeah, we're gonna get into that. There's also tons of crypto news, of course. TradeFi Whale put this together. There's a crazy amount of news today. Mango Exploiter now exploiting Aave, CZ flooding Coinbase, then backtracking. Digital currency group Barry Silbert's letter, the DCG Genesis situation. So we're gonna continue to talk about that. I know Crypto Stevo was saying he had a lot of information. Feels like he thinks it will end up going bankrupt. I think it's about 50-50 right now. It's a pretty close call. So we'll get into that as well as some other stories, some pricing stuff. Always can't stop talking about Sam Bankman-Fried. We got MicroStrategy planning to buy more Bitcoin with stock, which came up yesterday. Twitter fact-checking the Wall Street Journal. So we're going to talk about all of that stuff, and more. So, but make sure to drop all of your questions in the chat. We love chatting with you guys. What is on your mind? What are you looking at for this year, next year? What are you doing for the holidays? All that sort of stuff. So, we love hanging out with our favorite basement dweller. So it looks like it's a little bit of a smaller crew today. A lot of people we know traveling out of town, doing all that sort of stuff. So, thank you to everybody who's here. Saxon says, "Hey guys, I watched Benjamin Cowan. He was saying that alts bottom 6 to 8 months after BTC. What's your opinion?" That's an interesting one. I'd have to look more into that. You know, alts I will say this, the further we get into the markets, the more these markets mature, it's hard to lump all alts into one category, I would say. So there's some that I would say are different than their what years the GTR's a 2020, I think. 2020. Yeah.
The newbie.
Finally found the live stream. Welcome, Win2GA, Win25 or Wine25GA. I wonder if that stands for Georgia. I'm the chef. They travel to me. So real quick, I want to pull up the markets we were looking at just for just a quick recap, looking at some of the top pumpers of the day. We've got Dash. Wow, the graph had a big pump out of nowhere. Clayton, Solana surviving, BNB. Litecoin is the darling of the week. 34% pump on the 7-day, like 25% on Dash, which is just insane. Yeah, there's Tom Crown is having his victory lap there with, look at this, 34%, Dash at 25%. And Ben and I were talking a little bit. This came up on the morning stream. We're like, man, I wonder if Nano's going to pump. Without even looking at it, we were just talking about Nano. Nano, another payments coin that I would put really superior in technology in a lot of different ways. Nano pumped almost 100% on the day. Like
today?
Today. Look, go back to this is the Nano chart right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so this is the all-time. For those of you who don't know, it was a fair mint, free mine, has really good throughput, really low fees. Was really one of the ones I liked for a payments coin to compete with XRP and, a lot of what Bitcoin had set out to be a digital cash system for the internet. So it's very interesting to see this pump. It could relate to some of the regulation that it, like if anything's going to be considered a commodity, this one should fit the category to do that. So anyway, just random. And then, you're looking at Dash and Litecoin all kind of hit some of those features that there was no pre-mine, there was no ICO, and that might be what they're looking at to qualify something as a security versus a commodity. So something to keep your eye on. Older projects. What are you pointing at, Joel?
That little blip, that's 100%.
Yeah, it's so true. See that tiny little boop at the end? It was 100%. Well, it's easy when you're down below $1 or when you're that low in supply to get that much of a move. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as we get further into the show towards the end. Talk about Bitcoin price, the future of Bitcoin, and currency and all that sort of stuff. But before we do that, we're going to talk Twitter too. And you guys jump in with this all you want. If you think we started to talk about it yesterday, Twitter becoming the everything app. The closest thing we have to refer to as an everything app is WeChat, that they use a lot in China, where you use it to communicate, you use it to buy and sell things, you use it at work, you use it to travel, you use it to, for e-commerce and all sorts of different stuff. So as we're moving that direction with Twitter, this is NFT God. He put a thread together that will break down. This is just pure conjecture, but I think a lot of it's pretty good. So we recommended him yesterday. If you guys are into NFTs, if you're into metaverse kind of stuff, I would recommend you following him as well. He's got a lot of really good threads, really informative. He puts a lot of good information together. So Elon's Twitter will change the platform forever. A social economy is being born that will create big wealth opportunities for everybody reading this, which I tend to agree with. The reason I believe so much in the business we have here in Hit Network and in the attention model is I truly believe blockchain will allow creators to thrive in the new internet in a way that they're the ones creating a lot of it, and then they're going to be paid, equitably for what they're producing, which I think has been out of balance for a long time. What that balance is, I think the market will have to decide, but he's kind of coming with a lot of similar theories on what this new Twitter is going to be. So before we get into the future of Twitter, here's what we know so far. Elon Musk plans on making Twitter an everything app. That's what I was just referring to. Binance gave Elon $500 million during the takeover. We know that. CZ and Binance are invested in new Twitter as well as other major crypto players. Elon has said in a Twitter space, a wallet is in the future plans and content monetization is a priority. So now we did learn from reading those text messages between that. I think it was Michael. I always want to say Michael Carn or Michael Kane, and that might be what it is. But Michael Carnes was somebody I knew like in middle school. So lived around this area, actually, another hockey player. But shout out to his dad. He worked at the local bank branch that I ran into like 2 years ago, extremely randomly. But yeah. Now that was a tangent. Now I lost my train of thought completely. But in those text messages between Elon and Michael Kane, I think, Keynes, basically we saw Elon said, like, please, I don't want SBF in there if it's going to be a blockchain pitch. I don't want to build Twitter on the blockchain. So we know he's kind of anti-blockchain for the entire app. But that being said, I think having blockchain integrations, wallet integrations is going to be something that we're going to see. So what's interesting is he gives his projection here, and then he gives some action items that he believes can position you to, be able to take advantage of this somewhat in the future. Hey, Kobe's trending. That's interesting. Litecoin's trending. Oh, look what else is trending.
If Elon dropped an NFT collection, like it would break the internet.
Yeah.
Or break the blockchain.
Elon
possible.
buddies, non-friends.
So this is what,
Yeah, that'd be
according
crazy.
to like moving this direction, he's saying a social economy is coming. Quality content will be rewarded, which I agree with. Not just ad revenue, but with currency from other users, which we know they added super follows not that long ago. Crypto is incredibly cheap, easy to exchange, so a Twitter token only makes sense. I doubt they're going to go the token route, but they could. You know, there is a use case for it, right? Right, high quality tweets get rewarded from your community. So I do think we're going to start to see a lot more in that micro tipping concept and mentality.
That sounded like my Saturday night.
Micro tip.
Micro tip.
Oh, it was.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it
Perfect,
was,
PJ.
GJ.
Yeah. All right.
I do have a question.
Here.
The wallet on Twitter, would that be safe? Because couldn't you just get hacked? It's Twitter.
Yeah, I mean, it would be. I wouldn't keep your life savings on
I'm
it, but
just
it would be
saying.
just as safe as any other, custodied wallet. So, like, if you're using Coinbase, it'd be like holding your funds other places. But it wouldn't be. You're not going to be holding all of your money there. It'd be like if you're using application. I want to put. It'd be like an in-game currency kind of thing. I want to have $20 on there so I can tip 3 cents to my favorite person whenever I feel like it. So you're not worried about losing. But if you're a creator and you're gaining and you're getting 5-cent tip, 10-cent tip, $1 tip for all these different things, it can definitely start to add up over time. So he suggested start working on your tweeting, learn copywriting basics. Quality copywriting is the single most important factor when it comes to the success of the tweet. He just gives some books and stuff. But this is another thing. We won't maybe touch on all the action items.
Learn how
but
to make memes.
Yeah, I want to look at memes would be great. Like that's the thing. People that understand the culture of Twitter that get high engagement in the future. There's going to be a lot of ways. I feel like there's a pretty low hanging fruit that a lot of people look at when it comes to the super follow. There's a certain niche I would say that uses it pretty heavily right now when it comes to premium content getting paid. And which that niche always leads new innovation on the internet, typically. So I think we'll start to see over time a lot of those premium content providers starting to provide different types of content in exchange for payments and stuff. So evolving the Twitter or the Twitter avatar NFT, and I think this is something we're going to see on pretty much all social platforms. This will be your digital representation in the Twitter metaverse. Profile pictures were the first step, then verified NFTs. Next will be dynamic avatars. Engagement and quality content will be rewarded with rare and valuable traits for your avatar. So let me bring this back. I wanted to ask Joel about this. I mean, obviously avatars and things like that, pretty big in gaming. Do you think, is this something that you could see taking off that people, say a major streamer or whatever, do you think there'd be, let's go out just a few years, where people would rather be known by their in-game avatar personality and their equipment? Like if you think of WoW, I think of a lot of times with those kind of characters versus their actual face and look and all that kind of stuff. Do you see that being something people would be drawn to?
Yeah, definitely. And it's funny because last time I was on the show, I think we talked about Reddit verse.
Yeah,
and it's pretty much the same thing.
It
right?
is. Yeah, it is very similar.
So are they just doing what Reddit already announced?
Well, no, this is all hypothetical. We don't know that they're doing any of this stuff.
Good. I was just like, dang, bro, this is happening everywhere. No, but if the Reddit verse does happen where they get NFTs and all that, and if you bought your NFT like we do now, we have the avatars. Yeah, I mean, Timmy Tenders, Tim Tatman. Yeah, if he had a goofy, chibi of him that was an NFT and it was on his Reddit, it was on his Twitter. Yeah, that's huge.
Right.
I mean, when you see the logo, like McDonald's, when you see those arches, you want to see Dr. Disrespect's mustache. You want to see Tim the Tatman's bald head. You want to see that would be game changer for a lot of gamers and a lot of famous people.
And then you think
Oprah O and all that. Well,
then you think about the wearables or the other things you could add to your avatar. Merch is limited merch is a big thing. So
it's already happening. Yeah. When they put Ninja in Fortnite, it's it breaks the internet, and they have a bunch of people already. So yeah, if it is an NFT that you can buy instead of just a skin, yeah, I mean, of course it's gonna,
and if the creators have customizable abilities on their own avatars where it's okay, hey, I'm Tim the Tatman, I'm gonna put this tattoo on my shoulder and I'm gonna make it to where 1,000 people can buy the skin for this to put that on their shoulder,
right? And
then he gets 100% of those, or
every month those guys get a drop in Warzone and fight against Tim the Tatman. There's huge potential for that stuff.
Awesome. I saw, where'd it go? This is a kind of a pivot. We're gonna come back. Go ahead. Did you have something to add, Drew? Did you have something you were gonna say? No.
Girl avatars.
Cat girls. Yeah.
The e-girls.
somebody had a question, and this is off topic, but we'll come back to the metaverse. I just like the question. Evan Coons, what percentage of your net worth would you be comfortable putting into crypto this bear market? So we talked a lot about yesterday. We think we're near a bottom. We'll just assume, I guess we can assume we're in a bottom right now. But if you say you've got, I mean, I guess we all have different stuff, but what percentage of your net worth would you be willing to put in? What do you think, Brian?
Actually, very, very, very high. I'd be willing to put in like up to 80%. But will I actually be able to do that? I would have to like liquidate assets, right? So is it your net worth or your free cash kind of thing?
Right.
So if it was all free cash, yeah, I'd put up to 80% in for sure.
What about you, Drew?
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm not willing to sell my house to buy more items, but I'm considering possibly selling some hard-sided iron goods for more cryptocurrency. But yeah, basically, everything I got's on the line right now. So I'm not a fan of fiat. Anything that I don't need to spend within the month in fiat is going into cryptos.
Al Capitan said, wow, I'm sorry, but her voice would be great for an ASMR channel. I actually really agree with that. I think you would do great. Have you ever done anything ASMR?
No,
I think she could.
I always just talk into the microphone really close.
Yeah.
So
There you go. Okay, so Hannah, give us, what would you put net worth percentage wise, what would you be willing to put into crypto in the bear market?
I don't have a percentage, but I would say like I don't have a ton of money right now. I'm actively working and saving to build my net worth, and I'm still DCAing into things that I believe in. So
There you go.
I'm putting a pretty hefty percentage of my net worth per se into crypto already. And I think right now is the best time to do it. So I've never advised anybody to buy anything, but I will say at Thanksgiving, I'm going to tell people to toss 100 into something.
Yeah.
See what happens.
That's what we were just saying yesterday. This is the Thanksgiving. You want them to tell them to buy at Thanksgiving in a bear market.
What if you told them last Thanksgiving?
You're going to have to talk. You're going to have to do a lot of talking.
That's why I don't
you better
say
have someone
anything
else check
usually.
your gravy first before you eat it. But yeah, told them last Thanksgiving, just keep your head low.
Yeah. Exactly. You're gonna have to be doing a lot
Maybe
more
skip a
explaining.
year.
Well, here actually I've got a perfect. Let's see if I don't know if the audio is gonna work. I had a fun little clip. Wait. Where is it? Of why Bitcoin. Somebody said, if they explain Bitcoin to me in very quickly and briefly in a way I can understand it, what's its use case, what's its value. And Kanye, fortunately for us, just did it the other day where he had his moment of his what they say orange pill moment.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Yep.
That was scary. Gotta mute myself over here. And now
And then.
all right, here we go. I think this is, you ready, BJ?
Oh yeah.
So here is why Bitcoin. TJ's forehead is so shiny. Lights are bright.
It's pronounced shiny.
I went from being a multi-billionaire to not being able to use my Apple Pay. 4 nights ago, I couldn't use my Apple Pay because somehow Adidas was able to legally go in and freeze my money. And when I see this, I think, well, if this could happen to me, this could happen to other Americans. And for what? This can happen to an American that didn't even steal anything, that didn't even hurt anyone. This could just happen to you for saying the wrong idea out loud, for expressing yourself. I went from...
There you go. It's pretty powerful. It's something we've talked a lot about on the channel over the years. Obviously, different nations, you experience this a lot more dramatically, but this one hits especially close to home. This is a very wealthy person here in the United States that's basically being financially manipulated and cut off by the powers that be just because they don't like his take, more or less. They don't like the words that he's saying. It's not a crime, but they're if the woke disagrees with you, you're canceled. Yes. And we've seen, just like I saw a lot of other comments on the same thread talking about Canada, right? Somebody said, I live in Canada. And just this year, our government decided to freeze bank accounts and assets of people expressing an opinion that they simply didn't like.
Yep.
So that to me is the number one pitch on Bitcoin. And, you can show them graphs of the dollar. Yeah, we can come back to the full, You can show them graphs of the dollar, how it's lost its buying power and all that different stuff. You can show, the appreciation. Bitcoin's been one of the best investment assets since its inception. But I think really connecting, especially if you've got connections with people outside the United States. I mean, countries that have seen their currencies go through life cycles a lot more quickly than the US dollar has. I know a lot of people in South America have experienced their government gets overthrown and basically you lose 50% of your savings overnight, or you might lose your house overnight, or you might lose all sorts of different stuff. Somebody said, "Don't get married."
That's false.
Yeah,
that's false.
Yeah, Drew.
That's so
Somebody,
false.
Gadalife says, "Don't get married, or your sex life will get canceled." Drew, how many kids do you have?
I got 4 kids. I had to cut it off, man.
Got
Okay.
8 chickens and 4
Yeah, I got a little house on the prairie going on. You don't have to. I don't know what kind of. Yeah, that's up to you. Okay, that's up to you. That's
that
a
is up to
personal
you.
decision.
Yeah, if your sex life gets cut off, I think that sounds like a personal problem, not a.
This Kanye thing, this is huge, man. Like, I don't know. It gets me going. It gets me a little lit up because, like, I feel like the biggest reason why I'm involved in crypto is to make people aware of what blockchain and actual decentralization is before biometric data is merged with our day-to-day life and our transactions with our dollar, because that's coming. You'll hear biometric data integrations, and then there's a lot of implications. You know, Kanye said things that people didn't agree with and then was shut down. But biometric data is able to actually read your reaction to any sort of political discourse. There's a lot of technological advancements that are happening right now that'll be implemented 10 years from now. And you have to be careful about what we as a society allow to be constructed for us on our transaction of
You get
value.
penalized for what you think.
You can be
Learn how to
penalized.
lie.
The reaction of your pupils when you
Yes,
hear certain things.
and the cameras on our phones are capable of this right now. That's what a lot of people don't get, these high-end advancements we're getting. I mean, that's and I was definitely on the cancelable side during flu season, but yeah, I was very wary of being shut down. I had to keep my head low for a long time, and to stay employable. I gave up an amazing job over it. Like, it's a battle, and so that's why I think decentralization is so intricately important for us to understand and be able to eloquently vote on as these things are presented to us over the next 5 years.
I agree. What a monologue right there. That was great. Big crypto hands. Dan said exactly. You see this at airports. This is something I've been noticing a lot for the last few years. Is through 2020, 2021, they rolled out a lot of these new, things you have to walk through, doors that, you can get stuck in. Some of this is international and customs and some of this kind of stuff where you have to just stand in the middle there and you're locked in on both sides and they're scanning you and doing all this different stuff. And then it's like, one time, the door didn't open, and I'm like, "Hey, what's going on here? Why is the door not open?" It's a weird feeling to be stuck right in the middle there, and they're scanning stuff, and it's just like what you feel like you're just on. We are on now the conveyor belt. All of a sudden that bag just slides off into that other section. You're like, "Oh, great! Now I'm gonna have to wait for them to go through." Like eventually, we're gonna be the people walking through, and it's just like, "Boop, came up red, sir. Please come with me this direction." And it's just like, "Oh no!" And it's like they might be. Oh, they connect you to a digital transaction, or somebody mentioned CBDCs rolling out. That's part of what's so scary about this. And it is. We know CBDCs are going to be a metric.
Travel credit score.
Yep.
Ooh, yeah,
Carbon credits.
exactly. Which then soon becomes a global credit score, and your citizen, your global citizen score, and like how do you impact the world? And then they can just. Somebody else mentioned Mr. Techno Goody that they continually move the goalposts, not just to what you say, but what you do, to what you buy, perhaps where you work, who you follow, at what you patronize, and that's just so true. They slowly. It's a drip, and they move it along, and at first it sounds well-meaning. Oh yeah, we don't want these bad things to happen. We're going to do it to prevent the bad things, and then it's like, wait a minute, but now we're applying it over here to something that's not so clearly bad, and there's a lot more debate about what's right and wrong, and there's a lot more gray area. The WEF had a whole series on bioengineering of next generations. We see
Yuval Harari tells you to your face exactly what he's going to do.
Terrifying.
So
who is he for the people at home?
He's Klaus Schwab's right-hand man and very famous philosopher and historian.
But the nonchalance he talks about, basically like eugenics,
100x. eloquently and excitedly
Yeah.
speaks about those things. And this is, I almost have a backwards segue because I hope that what Elon is mirroring for WeChat is not similar to the application of WeChat in China, because there you go.
Yeah,
That's
they
it.
use WeChat to control their citizens almost entirely. You can allow that chat. He's talking about the Netflix series. He was saying, I think we'll hit.
Where did it get dumped?
full idiocracy before we hit Black
Oh, yeah, that's
Mirror.
fine. Yeah, why did that get blocked?
I don't
Yeah,
think
it just had
we're
words in
not
it.
doomed for Black Mirror. I don't think we're doomed for Black Mirror. I think that there's going to be a split in society. Basically, decentralization is going to be chosen in some nations, and CBDCs will be accepted or able to be implemented in other nations. It's about speaking out, being knowledgeable, calling your representative, and not bending when they will break you. That's all there is to it.
Well, and I think the key difference for these apps and like in using technology for good versus evil comes in this is why decentralization is such a strong push, and transparency, open architecture.
Transparency.
Yeah, that everybody can see what's happening. That eliminates a lot of the number one problems that we have when you've got high centralized authority that's able to operate in the shadows, and they can use it for all sorts of different things, which is, we know that's what happens a lot with the CCP over there in China. They motivate their citizens through these things, and then before they know it, they're trapped and you have no options, you have no way out. So as long as there's options, decentralization, which I do believe Elon Musk does understand and does want Twitter to be a better solution than WeChat, because everybody talks about WeChat, but then in the same conversation, everybody talks about all the problems with WeChat and how it's leading itself to a social credit score. What does that mean?
Ooh.
That was fun. What does that mean, BJ?
You cheered
Oh,
a bit.
we got a biddy.
Thanks for the bit.
Thanks for them bits.
Cool.
Maybe one day.
Joel, can you give them your bit face?
Ooh, woo. That's pretty good. Joel, you look tired.
Oh,
So yeah,
Can you not zoom in on this gross face right now?
I won't do it again.
do it now. Do it now. Yeah, there it is. I was gonna say, if I really wanted to get you, I'd pull that hat off.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
It's a billion. Don't do it.
Oh, 1 million bits for the head reveal?
It's a billion or doink.
thanks.
Doinks. Okay. Well, we're going to come back to this Twitter thing again because he is talking about this wallet. Twitter wallet, I do think would hold cash. It would hold crypto. It would hold NFTs. And I've noticed a lot, he had Elon and Mr. Beast had an exchange about paying, and he said he wants to incentivize video creators as good or better than YouTube does, which a lot of creators came out and said, I think that's going to be very difficult for Twitter to compete with. But YouTube pays creators based on views, and it's a one-way economy. Twitter will be a social economy where people, bless you, will exchange assets, crypto, and NFTs for quality content and goods. I completely agree with this, and I think we're going to start to see this across many social platforms where you've got a wallet, people can send you NFT. It already existed. I started to notice this on TikTok. There was a wallet, a digital assets wallet built into TikTok when it launched in it didn't launch in 2020, but when it was really blowing up in 2020, they launched a wallet right in there so you can do a lot of these little digital assets and gifts, and they have value. Right now, it's a completely closed system, but I think we're going to start to see these systems open up to where, hey, I've earned value here that I can exchange for, it might be Dogecoin for all the Doge lovers out there. Might be, Matic seems to be doing a lot of really good partnerships. But say, hey, I've made this NFT, I've minted it on Instagram, so to speak, and I've sold it and then exchanged it for Matic. Now I can withdraw my Matic and, it becomes a whole new business model, and all your e-commerce can be done on Twitter. I mean, it's a pretty good theory there. Do you guys, let me ask you this. Do you think Twitter will be able to compete with YouTube when it comes to compensating creators, Brian?
That's hard because like Google owns all of that and YouTube, and they're like an Alphabet, and they're massive. So I don't think that they will pass YouTube, but sure, they can get kind of close. They could be the number 2, but no, I think YouTube still wins.
BJ, what do you think? You think they have a shot?
I'm sorry, I was reading something else. Can you repeat the question?
Do you think Twitter could compete with YouTube when it comes to compensating creators? That's what he's saying they would like to go after.
I mean, it's just Elon that's behind it, correct? And the only reason I'm getting at that is I feel like they need more capital. I mean, they're massively... aren't they in debt? Like, Elon over-leveraged Tesla to be able to buy it, and they're desperate for money right now, so where's the payout coming from? Where's
actually,
the money?
Yeah, they did raise a lot. It didn't all come from Elon, and it is privately funded at this point. You're saying, like, where would the money be to pay creators, basically?
Yeah. I've done pay-to-earn gaming before, so I've learned to ask, where's the money coming from?
Right. No, that's a good point. I mean, obviously, kind of what Brian was saying, they own Google AdSense, which is where they use to pay out on YouTube. They own search more or less on the internet. So almost all advertisers are advertising across YouTube and Google. So that's, and they give a portion of that to people to create who generate the views.
Yeah, I don't know how Twitter would compete with that.
Yeah, that's pretty much what Mr. Beast said. Like, good luck, but it's going to take a while for Twitter to get there, which I tend to agree with. I do think they could get there faster than Facebook could, even though Facebook has a ton of advertisers. They probably do have more money to work with when it comes to that, but it doesn't seem to be there. They don't seem to be thinking in that direction, if that makes sense. So somebody said something about, where'd it go? They're saying if you're depressed looking at the charts, do it.
Just turn it upside down.
Yeah, do it on the inversion table and you'll feel a lot better.
And short or something. I don't know. Just learn how to short during the bear market. It'll be real good when things come back.
I do want to say one thing about that because you brought up Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
I think in comparison, like Zuckerberg bought Facebook and Instagram. I've always like kept up with social media and loved social media. Instagram used to be my favorite. And then once he started making those changes, I like quickly did not love it as much as I did before. And I think what I'm seeing with Twitter, this is all my personal opinion, but I really like what Elon's done so far and the way that everybody has reacted. And I think that he's on an upward scale.
Yeah.
And I kind of trust him. So I definitely think that he is going to be a competitor for YouTube.
I think so too. I think Twitter, I agree. I would say Twitter's trending up while others are trending sideways or, down or sideways at best.
Yeah.
And I do think he's engaged. It's an app he uses a lot. He cares about it. He's getting real-time feedback. So I do think the improvements are going to move to a better place. I mean, even just something as simple as Twitter just fact-checked the Wall Street Journal. So for those of you who don't know, they introduced this fact-checking, which is about this SBF stuff, which was just hilarious, where they more or less wrote this opinion piece from the Wall Street Journal. FTX failed because Sam Bankman-Fried's supporter lost confidence in him. That may be how Donald Trump finally crashes and burns too. It's like, wait, what? How does this have to do with
Nobody
Donald
was
Trump?
talking about
That's
that.
like being like, I have 2 red apples,
Right.
but purple ones will blow up. What?
Exactly. And so then now readers added context that they thought people might want to know. FTX is bankrupt because, quote, a complete failure of corporate controls and such a complete absence of trustworthy financial information amid allegations of theft. Outside the editor's opinion, no apparent connection between SBF and former President Donald Trump exists. And so this has existed on Twitter for a little while now, fact checking, but it was never applied universally. They'd fact check specific things about the pandemic maybe, or specific views about X, Y, and Z. And there'd be all these fact checkers on there. But then anything that was like, this is very clearly, these are facts. I loved when they fact checked the White House. The White House came out and said like, oh, thanks to, what President Biden did, the CPI numbers are, X, Y, and Z. And it's like, actually, that was passed into law in 1970 that this stuff would automatically adjust with X, Y, and Z. It had nothing to do. And this is just pure fact that was very easy to see. So I just, regardless of where you stand on any of the opinions and facts and all that stuff, I like that it's whatever the policy is getting applied universally at this point, and it's not being chosen like, hey, fact check these people, but never fact check those people.
Well, my favorite was when Facebook
Yes, it was Nixon in the 70s.
fact checked and banned the British Medical Journal for misinformation.
So good.
The oldest medical journal in the world.
Oh my
They're like,
God.
oh, they don't know what they're talking about.
I did make some fun out of it though. When they would fact check one of my memes, then I would take a screenshot, put it back up, and then they'd fact check that with the fact check under it, and then just keep going until it's like zoomed out and it's all just duplicate fact checks. I had a lot of fun with it. But yeah,
That's really funny.
Twitter just hit like an all-time high in user bases. They just had a massive amount of the biggest advertisers go immediately. I think SpaceX is their remaining large advertiser deal that they have right now. So we saw a lot of corporate America pull out.
Mhm.
We'll see if he can pull it off with his ways. And I want him to try. We need to try. We need to do what we can here, and not Fortune 500s.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's the problem was they were relying on the advertisers were dictating a lot of the policy at Twitter because they were the ones paying all the bills. They were running up stupid numbers. So like if you're not going to rely on the institutional media money of old, you're going to have to come up with some new creative ideas. And I agree. I think it's good to see this happening. It's definitely disrupting the system. I think it was something interesting. I've been noticing a trend. I mentioned Barstool Sports the other day. When you are starting to push mainstream media and they don't have control over that messaging, they don't like it. Once you get a certain size, talking like Hulu, Netflix, some of these subscription apps, Netflix was one of those ones that came out of nowhere, was a big disruptor. As soon as it went public, they were able to position and, kind of take control of it. Hulu, already was the mainstream media. And that's what's very interesting to me. If you start going down this media path, there's really only, 4 to 6 companies that make almost all the TV media that gets consumed today. It's the internet stuff that's all over the place that they're having a harder time wrangling. And once it hits a certain scale, they like to, to try to roll that in for control. So I think
we're seeing people fight back.
I do too.
At a stronger rate than we've ever seen before.
Hell
there's big voices out there that are getting quote unquote canceled, but then those people are banding together and even having a stronger voice and kind of disrupting these mainstream, opinions that are coming out. And what's crazy and like talking about like Elon and Zuckerberg, the difference is Elon understands people better.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually like knows what's going on. He doesn't care
he's not a robot?
just about the data. He just has better research on humans.
His
That's
AI
all.
is programmed better.
Yeah, he's got a better protocol.
And he's less bot, right? And that's what we want. We want people that are making choices that we all agree with based on how we feel and how we live our lives, not just off of money and data. So
That's that point right there. This was a poll that Elon posted. You cannot read it, but it says, should Twitter offer a general amnesty to suspended accounts provided that they have not broken the law or engaged in big words he's using, egregious spam. Anyways, he put up a question and he said yes or no. He's letting all of his followers and the people that use Twitter like decide.
Did the
things.
same for Trump
They
too.
have input. Yeah.
That was lovely.
No, I like it. Yeah, because you're right. And somebody suggested on one of his polls. I think Michael Saylor. It was a really good suggestion. He said, "Hey, it's cool that like you having scale of 15 million followers. A poll that you run across your account does give a pretty close to what the consensus of the app would be. But how cool would it be if you could push polls directly to all users and get people to vote?" And get real-time information on the exact, the consensus on the network. Again, it's open. It's not going to be perfect, but it is pretty interesting to think about being able to do that. Elon is more plugged into the simulation. Sounds about right. It is really interesting to think about that coming down the pike. And somebody else said in the chat, Hit Network does it right by putting content on all platforms. I do want to stress that. It's important to watch trends on platforms and try to be early on those trends. Like I said, TikTok in 2020 and riding that one up, you're going to have a lot more success 2020 than you are today just by, network effects and competition. Same thing goes with Twitter, like being on Twitter before all these changes. I think it's going to be 10 years from now. There's going to be like, oh yeah, I was on Twitter before the Elon Musk takeover or after the Elon Musk takeover. It's going to be kind of one of those kind of moments. Similar to what you were referring to with Instagram. Like, oh yeah, I used Instagram and then once Facebook bought it, I was done with it, etc. So getting your content on multiple different platforms, preparing yourself for the future, preparing yourself for a blockchain economy is critical, but I would stress, don't go all in on one. Generally speaking, that doesn't typically work out. Something Gary Vee preaches a lot. That's where we got a lot of it. He talks about, he was very early on YouTube. He was one of the first people, making content every single day. Same concept. It was a lot easier to grow on YouTube when there was a lot less people making videos. That's when he was doing his wine library thing. And then he got pitched an exclusive deal from another up and coming social media streaming platform. I can't even remember the name of it right now because it's not relevant for the most part. Stopped streaming on YouTube, went over there to go exclusive for the one day, the upfront payoff. And then, the cost of what it took him from taking all of his stuff off YouTube never even came close to what he made in that. What did it say? When Joel dresses as an e-girl, Hit Network will... Hit Network Gaming will definitely blow up. We definitely need Joel dressed as an e-girl. I've actually got a blonde wig from my Dumb and Dumber outfit that you could wear.
We're ready.
We can get you some headphones with some cat ears.
He's going to be so pretty.
What do we need? Some short shorts. You need to sit in the chair with your leg up like this and play the games. And
He's got like a really deep voice while you did it too.
Oh, there's those blow up hot tubs on Amazon too. Get you one of those.
Yeah, blow up.
Dude,
hot
I'm saying we
tubs.
sell gamer bathwater. Hit Network official.
Who wants
Maybe
Joel's bathwater?
Yeah, we should do
Offer
a blow up hot tub stream on like Christmas or something.
Hell yeah.
If people aren't doing stuff for the holidays, I'm telling you, it's gonna start getting weird in this basement. Not in this, but, like,
Speaking of the e-girl stream, I have to go stream, guys. I love y'all. Sorry, I really don't. I can't say a lot, dude. I don't know a ton about crypto, but
no, it's
thanks
okay.
for having me.
We
I love
wanted
y'all.
you here for the metaverse stuff. You added something to the table.
Yes.
So boom. Now look at this big gap it's gonna leave in our couch.
Replaced with Twitch logo.
That hole is.
Oh wow!
Joel, he unplugged it. You stepped on it.
Stepped on it.
God damn it, Bobby.
No, that one.
One of those cords, right?
Somebody said marbles, Joel.
It just doesn't even matter.
No, it came
anymore.
back.
It's fine.
What people
It's
are
back. It's there. It's there. I can see it.
Fine.
What people are saying about like
trolled
when they moved off of Instagram though, I totally felt that in my music career. Like it was so easy to grow
On MySpace.
and get to people on MySpace, and then the front end of Facebook. It was awesome. You know, you get
Oh yeah.
thousands and thousands of views on music, sell stuff, and I could just feel the throttle slowly get closed in on me for not paying the advertiser fees and stuff. So it's an interesting thing what he's doing, but I hope he does the right thing. Elon, you're starting to win me over. You're suspect, still slightly winning me over.
I'm trying to find.
Oh, I talk quiet. Okay,
Yeah, you'll be like, here, I'm talking.
man. I miss the good old days of MySpace.
Speaking of, I do think he's doing a good job with, I think they needed a strong leader. They haven't had a strong leader there in a while. We did see right before we went live, Elon Musk has shut off corporate credit cards for Twitter employees, New York Times reports. It looks like the spending was just absolutely out of control over there. This is just another side note before we kept moving on to other things. What broke right before the stream, let's see if I can find it. Credit Suisse. This is a Drew topic here to dig into. We were looking at this right before we went live. Credit Suisse has a 1.6 billion loss estimated for just Q4, 88 billion in client outflows due to the loss of confidence. So seeing a run at the bank, kind of like what we've been seeing with a lot of these crypto firms. New York Times did an article on me about 2 months ago implying I was wrong about Credit Suisse. This is from Wall Street Silver.
I like following those guys.
Yeah?
You know, they have good insight every now and again. I mean, for a silver bug, But it was seeing like, I don't know, it's in my opinion that we see these media controls on what information goes out to people and kind of the control of conversation in finance so heavily done because of how fragile our banking system is and has been for a long time. And just,
we're not supposed to talk about that.
Well, I will, I'm wearing this shirt as I bring it up. But if you basically, if everyone in town went to go get their money, I mean, obviously the bank's insolvent within the first 5% of people that show up to get their money. If people lose confidence in the US dollar, there is a fast road down for traditional finance. And Credit Suisse is one of the biggest banks in the world. Everyone has the greatest confidence in them and Deutsche Bank, and they have serious problems internally that haven't come to light. And I have a feeling we might get a chance to see if the push for true journalism continues and actual information comes out.
And speaking of Deutsche Bank, the reputed Deutsche Bank whistleblower Val Brocksmith,
yeah. This one's weird.
Found dead on LA school campus.
Yes, he was. I think let's go through this. But let me know what you think. This is a really weird one.
Out of here. Okay, so let's see. Reputed whistleblowers reported to have turned secret files about Deutsche Bank was identified as the man found dead this week on the campus of Los Angeles High School. Political official told and a high school. Interesting. Yeah. The body of Valentin Brockensmith, 46, was discovered at about 7 a.m. Monday at Woodrow Wilson High School in El Sereno, located northeast of downtown L.A. Coroner has not indicated a cause of death. Authorities do not suspect foul play.
Of course.
Why not? Final medical examiner's report is not expected until the summer.
Yeah. Amazing.
Why?
I mean, and my mom's a coroner. These things don't take that long.
This investigation is still ongoing. However, no foul play is suspected at this time. And based on the investigation, it appeared he was alone on the grounds of the school most of the weekend preceding his death. The LAPD said in the statement, the manner of Brocksmith's death is pending a review of the investigation along with the coroner's examination toxicology reports.
Mm-hmm.
So
takes
now,
like 2 days.
Right, that's what I'm saying. All this stuff shouldn't take very long. So we've got Credit Suisse Deutsche Bank. And what I wanted to kind of set up is the question we're trying to decide, are we at a bottom, right? For the crypto markets, for the Bitcoin markets. We know macro markets have been tanking as well. We're in a bear market on the macro side. So I want to throw out a scenario. We're starting to feel like we could have bottomed for Bitcoin, or we will be bottoming here in the next few weeks. We're very near the bottom time-wise. What do you guys think about a scenario where Bitcoin and crypto starts moving into, yes, Crypto Billy, I will get there, dude. I'm working on it. I literally walked right off that other stream onto this stream, so I haven't had 2 seconds yet.
Well, that's Crypto Billy 111.
Yeah, I screenshotted. He did a super chat. I screenshotted it on the other computer. I will go check as soon as after this. It's not like I'm not doing anything, but I care about you. I promise.
We do love you.
Yeah, I do. Trust me. I will not forget.
Crypto Billy.
I will not forget. I will not forget. I will not
But
forget.
you won't mean to forget.
I won't. No, I will not forget. That's what I just realized. Like, I better not forget now because.
Yeah, that's right.
Awkward.
Serious.
But okay, so here's the question: can Bitcoin and crypto start moving out of a bear market, slowly chugging sideways, or while we're in a macro economy, still in a bear market for stocks and traditional retail? Because we're seeing, or do we think both are bottoming and they're going to move up together in correlation? I know it's a tough one.
Oh.
Because we're seeing extreme fear in both markets right now with insolvencies and banks crashing. And here comes the FBI. All right, you know what? I can't do it.
I mean, do we
Wait,
see?
is it on the BitBoy YouTube?
It's on the BitBoy YouTube. It's going to be hard to find.
I mean, do we see the separation that, like, I mean, the entire point of crypto is the decentralization and the decoupling from the dollar, the BS of sovereign states and things like that. So is this the time that we see that? Potentially, but I honestly think this is the bottom for everything and we're going to start moving up. I actually wanted to bring up a very relevant, I've heard this is Voltaire. I've heard like 8 million people, but like when we're looking at the narratives and as we're talking about fact checking and everything else, I think this should be on the forefront of people's mentality with how they look at things. But one of my favorite quotes is, anyone who can make you believe in absurdities can make you commit atrocities. And I think we're seeing a lot of that right now where people question things about the economy or don't, or follow kind of herd mentality on things or don't, where it's just like, I think a lot of people are blinded right now by things that are hilariously funny that they even fall for it. So
yeah, no, I agree completely. It's also falls in line with misdirection, misinformation, putting so much misinformation out there. People are so confused, they just freeze. And that allows a lot of opportunity for people to position themselves. So I tend to feel like we're near the bottom for both. I mean, here we looked at this on the morning stream today. This is the average drawdowns price, Bitcoin price drawdown from all-time high. You guys can see, obviously the earlier it was, the more, you see, like, you hear on average they say 85%. It's coming from graphs like these where you had almost a 90% drawdown here, and then it started getting a little less, and we are trending up on this. If you drew a line from here to here, you would see obviously we're trending to be diminishing returns on this side is what we were looking at yesterday, but diminishing drawdowns as well. So it looks, we're in this range where we're, and by the way, I thought I did, where did that other one go?
With the hashtag
no, Sofa King Cryptic. Twitter is at Heisenberg82. I could have sworn I did that. I will do that. Watch right now. Everybody will see.
Oh God.
Heisenberg. Heisenberg82. Search for Heisenberg82. Did I spell it wrong?
No.
It's you put NE instead of EN, I think.
Am I the only one doing elevator music? This is awkward.
It's okay.
If we all did it, it would be really awkward.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta stick with it. What? What
Harmonize.
is this guy?
This is not Heisenberg.
What is it?
Replying
People.
to. It said replying to.
This is not
Heisenberg82. Here you are. Heisenberg. Hey, look. Radio Face is there too. I'll hit you both at the same time. Boom, boom. I know
Boom,
Radio Face
boom,
is a
double
fan of the
whammy,
channel, so there you
baby.
go, Heisenberg. I did remember. I did.
Oh, follow me, Crypto Daddy. You're my only hope.
I already follow you, BJ.
Oh no, that was a generic.
I kind of have a take.
Twitter, yeah.
I have a take on this. All right, so first of all, I don't think we're at the bottom yet. I still think that we will see
For what? Crypto, macro, or
for
both?
crypto.
Okay.
Or macro actually. But I think crypto, we're still going to see like a significant painful dip. I don't think we've felt max pain yet. I don't know, but maybe that's just because I'm numb. So I think we got a little bit more. But that being said, the only way I see it decoupling actually is if the macro economy continues to go down dramatically and people see crypto as a better option. If it just kind of starts going up together, I still seeing them kind of, pegging to each other. So I don't think we see the separation unless there's major pain in the world.
By the way,
Major Pain.
oh, so
That's
good.
Yeah.
one of my favorite
It's so
movies.
good.
Of
It
all
is a good
time.
movie.
I love that movie.
I'll break your pain.
I was
He
gonna say-
breaks his finger. with
Yeah, exactly. Oh, you need some help with that pain.
Yeah.
it. There you go.
Yeah. I love that's such a good movie. If you guys are ever bored at like 3 a.m. on, it's probably on FX. You can watch it. If you guys get that channel, it's on all the time or
Opie.
TBS.
My take on is the bottom in. I would say I'm sticking to the 4-year cycle. Basically, I'm just excited to be able to be back in the time frame where I'm comfortable buying until March next year. I hope we stay low for 6 months to give me time to accumulate. Hopeful for a 14 spot or 13, but I thought we were going to get there once we lost that 17.5 from the volume pocket, and somehow it's hanging out here at 16.5. So currently it's found some halfway support through that volume pocket, which kind of makes a lot of sense for the 2017 December high. So yeah, I feel like crypto is just going to follow the basic 4-year cycle. The thing I'm tussling in my mind with is if we're going to have the institutional type movements in this upcoming bull market that'll kind of fight back against the diminished returns that we saw through the previous bull cycle in comparison to the first two. So I feel like crypto is following the basic parameter, but I do feel like the macro economy is at massive, massive risk right now. So depending on what happens geopolitically, that the financial tug of war that I feel is happening right now between BRICS and NATO will decide where the macro goes. So I pay a lot of attention to the conflict and the gold stacking China and Russia are doing, and the blockchain CBDC developments that NATO countries are doing to try to get an understanding of where it's going to land.
Yeah, I feel pretty strongly that we are experiencing right now nations getting into Bitcoin. I think I'm starting to. I had the thought yesterday we saw, and we didn't really talk about it too much, but crypto Twitter reacted to Binance CEO. So CZ yesterday tweeted out pretty much a veiled shot at Coinbase, basically, and it was pretty weak, more or less saying, so Coinbase custody is supposed to hold 635,000 BTC for Grayscale. 4 months ago, this article came out, said they had less than 600 Bitcoin. Very unconfirmed. He did later delete the tweet because Brian Armstrong came out and said, no, we have here's a link to the reports that shows we have more than 2 million Bitcoin. And it just really started getting me thinking, like we've learned from these recent crashes, what it feels like is happening is the easiest way to be the number one accumulator or the number one holder of an asset is to take it from the top competitors that have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I feel like that's what we're experiencing in this last year is big power players saying, you know what, we're going to get into crypto and we're going to take what's ours and we're not going to care, and they're ruthless. And they move through different markets like an absolute animal, and they have no regard for anybody else as they do this. So hedge funds are ruthless, nation states are savage. And so that's what I think we're experiencing. And it got me thinking, like, why is CZ pushing so hard to make all of this stuff public? Is it truly just to help the space? Like, you'd think if it was to try to work on building together, like they're saying, it would be, he wouldn't be taking shots at Brian Armstrong. Right. He'd be reaching out saying like, hey man, how can we work together on this? And so it started making me think, like, is he trying to create honeypots or trying to identify, we know who the top public holders of Bitcoin are, but all the private holders, we know how much Binance has now. We know how much Coinbase has now. We know how much Grayscale has, but like, we know how much MicroStrategy has. But for some of these other major whale wallets, some of these OTC desks that we're seeing, Genesis getting wiped out, like trying to identify the landscape of the entire thing, because Coinbase having 11% of the supply, that's pretty major, and that's a pretty big hit against the decentralization that is supposed to be part of Bitcoin's number one
It's like the whole ethos.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Differentiating factors. Part of what makes it what it is the fact that it's decentralized. And if you start finding out, like, oh, hey, actually, like people are worried about Satoshi's wallet. Now we've got 4 or 5 other people that have more than Satoshi. You know, Satoshi's wallet has 1 million Bitcoin in it. And that was always thought to be, if he starts moving his coins, that could wreck, you know, the whole market. Now, obviously, Coinbase is custodying a lot of these assets. They're not theirs. They're not allowed to move them on behalf of, you know, their users. But what have we seen recently? That hasn't stopped a lot of other businesses. So it's just got me thinking, do you think this is all like, are we seeing war games now from nations of trying, like we know we're in a commodities trade war. We have been for the last 2 or 3 years, whether it's energy, whether it's, you know, microchips, whether it's, you know, the wheat or oil. You know, there's a handful of commodities that have been battling around this supply chain for the last 2 years of countries trying to become more independent, less interdependent on each other because they're starting to not trust each other. Do you think CZ could be aiding and abetting nations in becoming large holders in Bitcoin, Drew?
Oh, I mean, you know, I hear Ben's citing that he lives in China, and he kind of lives in hotels here and there. He doesn't have a specific spot. The entire workforce is work from home, so he has that going from him. He did, I believe, come from Hong Kong.
No, to be fair, he was born, grew up in Canada. He did work in Hong Kong early in his career. He has dispelled a lot of the connections to the CCP.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't get the feeling that he is working for President Xi in China.
I don't think so either.
I think he's just trying to carve out a large chunk
You mean
of the market for
lifetime
Binance.
emperor?
Lifetime
Xi.
Emperor Xi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, go check out Foxconn and Apple plant in China if you want some entertaining viewing after today's stream, because that's getting spicy over there. But yes, I feel like what you're saying about the tug of war between nation states is absolutely happening. In my mind, I see a good balance of gold hoarding, crypto allocations, and then CBDCs basically being designed as the breadbasket for countries to move into. And you know, I mean, like citizens in Turkey, they love Bitcoin that they bought 2 years ago because their inflation is near, I think it's like 85 or 90% now. So a lot of people are losing out on holding fiat currency, and they're moving to, and countries are taking notice, and they're going to have to keep up. It's a dinosaur that must evolve to survive, basically. Otherwise, decentralization has a chance to actually give a lot of transparency to people.
And that's a good follow-up question from Crypto Thorn. Is there a country that pushes for DeFi and blockchain while stacking BTC and other cryptos? Do you believe they have a chance of becoming a global powerhouse and dethroning America or China?
No.
It's going to be a long way before somebody dethrones America or China, in my opinion. So you say no, Brian?
I say the answer is no, because DeFi, like, at the end of the day, guys, we're all like crypto nerds. We love blockchain. We love DeFi. But at the end of the day, the majority of people are going to pick centralized options. They're not going to push for DeFi. It's going to be a select few. So will there be very powerful people that maybe flock to this other country that's stacking BTC and has good DeFi regulations? Yes. There will be very powerful people there. There'll be very powerful businesses operating out of there. Will it become a global power? In my opinion, no. Like the still big centralized countries will, you know, that control their population will have the most power.
Yeah.
When you were talking, something that came to mind is how upset the IMF is with El Salvador.
That's what I was going to say. I think, is there, obviously that's a 2-part question. Is there a country that pushes for DeFi? B, do we believe they can be a superpower?
No, it says if there is a country.
If there is. Gotcha. See, I would say, I don't know. I agree with you, Brian. I think governments are drawn towards control. That's their whole game, survive. And what's the best way to survive? Take control. That was a really good thing Andreas Antonopoulos said that kind of clicked in my head one time. Like, what is the government? What is the purpose of a government? What is their charter? What is it they're supposed to do? Survive. That's the number one mission of a government. Don't get overthrown. Don't lose control of the population of the people.
Right.
And so they lean towards control. IMF is the government. Yes, that's what they believe as well. And you know, they say he who has the gold makes the rules, and you know, so that tends to be true a lot of times. I would say this: if there is a region that's pushing towards decentralization, I would say it's South America. Whether it's Brazil, you know, you mentioned El Salvador. We've seen a lot of other countries pushing towards that. I think because they've gotten the short end of the stick for so long, they know it's going to take an unconventional approach to get there, and they have to choose an approach that can't get snuffed out by big money.
Yes.
And decentralization is the only way to do that. That's the only way to fight back is if you have open, permissionless, immutable. And I think people down there have realized that, and I do think it could move well in that direction. That being said, we're talking long time frame, 20 years, something like that. But we're seeing a lot of attention moving in those areas. Brazil, the BRICS banks, like I said, the ones I already mentioned. I could see that definitely becoming a lot more relevant as time goes on. So, look into that. And to what I was saying at the beginning too, they understand the problem. They've lived the problem a lot more than a lot of other people. So, real quick, just want to touch on this before we wrap up. We were talking about this a little bit today. The Fed meeting, the meeting minutes just came out just a few minutes ago. Fed officials see smaller rate hikes soon, the minutes show. So we're predicting a 0.5 or 50 basis point hike coming in December 15th. If that is the last, or if they come out and say they won't be doing more, it should be pretty bullish for both markets. So yeah, I would say I'm feeling pretty strongly. I feel differently than Brian. We're done here with all these tabs. I don't have anything else to. Actually, I did have one more video to show at the very. It's pretty funny, yeah. I mean, it's something I've seen. It's old, but if you guys haven't seen it before, it's applicable to Brian saying how numb he feels in this market. I tend to agree. I mean, it is like once you get cut so many times, eventually you just stop feeling it. And you're just like, all right, I'm bleeding out. Tell me when we're going back up. Tell me when I'm patched up or whatever, when the IV's in. But I feel pretty good at this point. Genesis, I couldn't find the thread I had on Genesis either, but I feel like it's 50-50 shot that they could not go bankrupt. I know basically what happened when Three Arrows Capital dropped. Genesis was $1 billion short on the whole. DCG took a loan for $1 billion and gave all the money back to Genesis to fill that hole. And then now DCG owes on that loan. They're going to be paying it back. I think they have enough options structurally to be able to adjust things and hold it together. They will do everything they can not to unwind GBTC. It's the best asset they have. It produces something ridiculous. I feel like it's like, is it 200 million a quarter or something like that? Maybe it's a year. It's something insane that they get from management fees, which will allow them to get more and more investments and stuff in the future. So I think they'll be able to save it. If they don't, I think we'll obviously have a lower, one more lower low. If not, feels like this is pretty close to the bottom time wise, sentiment wise, macro wise. I'm starting to move some pretty significant stuff in. I would be willing, I'd say, to that first question, I'd put in 80% of my net worth in the bear market. Just hold on to the house you live in. But anything you have free and available, now's the time to put it in. And we can play this movie on the way out. This is how whoa, yikes. Stop.
That's fun.
So hold on. Oop. OG's in crypto right now. We'll move this over. Have you guys seen this one already?
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
I'm
This is a
down
good
for
one.
this.
Here we go. He feels nothing.
Yep, the fake out.
No blinking. He's not missing a thing. He's holding right here. He's holding Bitcoin. He's going up. He's telling everybody to sell himself. He's not doing it. He's going sideways. Now he's upside down. He has no idea what's going on. No, these are OGs. They know what's going on. They're not scared at all. Everybody around them screaming them, telling everything they should and shouldn't do.
Right.
Because you know what? I think I'm good. I'm going to chill.
Whatever.
All right, yeah, that's pretty much it.
That's what you get when we have to report on 30 insolvencies in a row.
It's crazy. I've never covered so many insolvencies, so many bankruptcies, so much red blood in the streets in this crypto market, and in my whole time in crypto. So I don't know if that makes you guys feel any better. We love all you guys in the basement. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. We will not be here tomorrow. Potentially Friday. Ben and I might do an extra special little small episode, I guess you could say, because most everybody won't be here at the office. But, us, all we do is talk about crypto, so we'll probably be here. But Corey Harden, Spring Break Forever, Crypto Thor, Mr. Techno Goody, 75901, Crypto Dan's Hands, Ariel for Life.
Got Daroy Alkin.
Thank you, Drew. Thank you, Drew. Bud Light Year 08. We love all you guys. Do we have anybody up for a raid? Is Hit Gaming streaming?
Yeah, we'll do Hit Gaming.
Happy
Happy
Thanksgiving,
holidays,
everybody.
Be thankful, guys. Stack Bitcoin. Help. This is the Thanksgiving to buy Bitcoin for your friends and family. Give it to them. Make them buy it. Do whatever you can.
Just so you can say I told you so.
Yeah, it'll change their life. Yeah.
Bye, Felicia.